Hello everyone, I'm here with a quick example of how you can use alignment checks to correct your drawing. Here we have a drawing that on some levels is very successful, the lines are solid and strong, but we notice this very clear perspective error here. Compared to the other box, the one on the left here, we're seeing way too much of the top of this um, this box. So here's the object in real life, right? And I'm sitting in the seat where the student who drew this was sitting. And let's see, I got to get the phone's camera to line up with right about exactly where my eyes are. So if we see the object in real life, we can use a horizontal check. So just holding the pen or pencil straight across, we can see how these lines that represent the top front edge of the box and the back edge of the back top edge of the box. So if I hold my pen as a perfectly horizontal line against the front edge of the box to extend that line, you see where my pen is? It's like it's pointing at the seashell. It's pointing like right at the middle of the seashell where the seashell itself has a pointy bit. And then if I align my pencil or pen with the back top edge, I see that back top edge, if that line were extended, it would end up just a little bit above the seashell. All right, so if we go to the drawing and then we extend the line of this edge, we see that in real life, the pen was lining up with this point on the seashell, right? So then you have to make a choice because this tells you that this is wrong. Either the seashell is too small for the box or the box is too big for the seashell. So if we think about how much work was done on the rest of the drawing, it makes much more sense to just make the seashell bigger. Because it would be too much to make this smaller, shrink all of this when you can just make the seashell bigger. So then you make the seashell bigger, and I actually had made that correction for the student with this piece of tracing paper. But if we look at the overlay now, we see not only that the seashell needed to get bigger, but also notice the lines of the box are slanted differently. In the original drawing, the lines are just going like straight back. They're vertical. They're perfectly vertical lines. But again, if we look at the object and trying to keep the phone so that the camera shows you what my eyes see. Let's see. If I hold my pencil out as a perfectly vertical line, basically an extension of this corner, we see that this edge, I'm going to point to it, that edge is, okay, so like right now in this video, it looks like it is perfectly straight. So I must have moved around. So let's see. Well, let's go to the other side because I can show you the same concept here on the other side. So on this side, if I hold my pencil up as just a perfectly vertical line, I see that this top edge, like if we imagine a line connecting these 2 points, that's not a perfectly vertical line. So actually, I'm about to show you another sighting technique, and that is imagining that your pencil or pen is like the hands of a clock, like one of those clocks, analog clock, not a digital clock. So if I, again, imagine that line connecting them and I just turn my pencil and make sure that I'm not going to go in. I don't want to tilt in. I'm imagining it's like there's a pane of glass right here. And I can, with my elbow fully extended, I can tilt my pen until it lines up. You see that? So now I ask myself, if this pen were a hand of a clock, what number would it be pointing to? And so if you imagine like a whole like clock face right in front of us, if we imagine that, then it would be like the pen is pointing to 10 o'clock, right? Where's my clock? There's my clock. Yeah, see that? That's the slant where 10 o'clock is. So then again, I can come to my paper and replicate that. Instead of just guessing randomly, like where should this line be? Where does it slant? I know exactly where it needs to be. It needs to be pointing towards 10 o'clock. So earlier when I drew this, I was sitting in such a way that, well, actually, you know, with my naked eye, this does look, it looks slanted. So when I put the pen down, it was clear that this line over here was slanted towards 11 o'clock. And if you think about it, this matches what we know about drawing cubes, because we know that these lines, because they're receding into space, they're parallel in real life, but they're receding into space, so they should look like they're going to converge. And now that I've made this correction, it does look like they would do that. I don't have two pens, but if I line up this other piece of paper here, you see how now these lines would eventually meet if they just kept going off into space toward a vanishing point? So again, we're using observation and we're using also just theory to correct. We're looking at the object, we draw it, and then we use what we know from both observation and theory to make corrections. All right, that's all I wanted to show here. Actually, maybe let's do a little bit more demonstration of the clock hand method, since I'm here and I'm not at 10 minutes yet. So if I hold my pen like straight out, like against I'm looking at the vertical edge of this box, the styrofoam box. Let me use my left hand instead. Okay. So I'm holding it up perfectly straight, and if I tilt to match the angle of that top angle, what does it look like my pen is pointing to? I'd say 2 o'clock. All right. There's our clock friend. Yup, that's 2 o'clock. So again, we can look at the clock and help ourselves. There's 12. There's the slant of 1, 2, 3 is a perfectly horizontal line, right? Just like 6 is a perfectly horizontal line. 6 and 12, 3 and 9, 4 and 10. Sorry, it's a little bit hard to do. 4 and 10, etc. So, you know, if you do have an analog clock around, if you're used to seeing them, then using that as a guide to help you understand exactly what the angles are on the still life can be a very, very helpful tool. All right. Okay. Now that's all. Bye.